Welcome everybody to tonight's Tuesday live training. I'm really excited to be here with each and every one of you as we talk about tonight's Tuesday live training, which is spiritual warfare. It's basically the light and dark and debunking spiritual warfare. It's basically what's going on in the world right now, right? We have, we hear about, let's say, the control of the government or the cabal or the 1%, or, there's a lot of things going on right now that has to do with spiritual warfare, that has to do with light versus dark. It has to do with, so much like evil coming up in the world. So this has really been getting on it has been on a lot of people's minds because it's to the point where we're waking up more, we're seeing more of the truth that's coming up, and then we're getting so frustrated in what that truth actually is, right? So, again, welcome everybody to the Tuesday Live Training. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight, right? So, first thing that I want to talk about is, number one, every Tuesday we have Tuesday Live Trainings at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so mark your calendars for 7 p.m. for the Tuesday Live Trainings, and each week is a different theme depending on what's guided, and if I'm guided to put out, what you want to learn, which I feel like that will be coming, then we will vote on Tuesday Live Training. So it kind of depends what the guidance is. The second thing is, if you're new to this, my name is Lauren Egle, 4th level master, Peruvian shaman, all of that good stuff, and you'll get to know me as you really start getting used to the group. There's so much with the groups. The Tuesday Live Trainings you can find in the unit section of the unit section of the Tuesday Live Trainings. So if you go on your Facebook group, it's either at the top if you're on your mobile, or at the left side where it says units, and you can look at all of the past units, all the past videos for the Tuesday Live Trainings, and see the different topics and watch it from there. Okay. So that's a little bit. May 18th, we have the registration, or we begin on May 18th, the Portal to Enlightenment, your role in the 5D Ascension, okay? So this is the May 18th. Mark your calendars. We will be reaching out to everybody individually, asking if you want to register all of that so that we can get you situated. This will be in the group, and that we can get you the workbook. And also for people who are going through, death, people in your family dying, I did put a bonus for Death in the Soul's Journey in the group, so you can check that out. And also, if you check your email, there is a little video with that to give you just a little bit more, right? So, is everybody ready? Whoever is jumping on for tonight, let me know. Comment below. Let me know you're here. Give likes to put thumbs up, put emojis. Hi Gretchen, thank you so much for coming. And let me know how you're doing this week, or just even the past few weeks. For me, the past few weeks have just been crazy. A lot of shifts going on, a lot of tiredness, like really needing to take that break, take that step back, right? Really going within ourselves and just integrating everything that's coming up. So, with that being said, let me know in the comments how you're doing this week. Are you tired? Do you feel like, you have more energy? Like what's going on within you? Would love to know that. If you're watching this on a replay, #replay, let me know that you're here, and comment below even if you're watching this on a replay. Okay, that is perfect. So we shall begin. And again, tonight is light versus dark. So spiritual warfare, debunking spiritual warfare, because this, guys, has been around for so long, for decades, maybe even centuries, however far it goes back. But yeah, it's definitely been a lot, right? And I'm just seeing some comments in a funk. Alan's in a funk. Yeah, I've definitely been in a funk, and that's definitely coming up. And I know a lot of clients and a lot of people have definitely been like that, resting the last couple of days too. Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, I'm surprised for anybody hopping on for right now. just because like it's been this time to just really like go in and just to rest and all of that. So thank you guys for joining tonight. Okay, and hi Lisa, thank you so much for coming. All right, so let's get started. What we're going to talk about first is the past. We're going to talk about, light versus dark, spiritual warfare, all of that. We're going to talk about the past, and we're going to also get into, the past like centuries ago and how it's come about, and then into the 5D aspect of where we're going with it, and then we'll start going in deeper. So the past. We've had centuries and centuries, right, of good versus evil. For example, the Dark Ages, that it was a lot of like good versus evil. Like, we see a lot of fairy tales, stuff like that, or not even fairy tales, like mythical creatures, things like that. But it's always like the knight versus, or the king or the knight versus someone, that's evil, or the king is evil. And it's all about that light and dark, the good and the bad. So there's always been this spiritual warfare with, the light versus the dark. But it's becoming even more prevalent right now. I'm not saying it wasn't prevalent, centuries ago, but it's definitely becoming more prevalent right now. The second thing is when we talk about religions, right? Different religions are about, good versus evil. So we have, like, say the Dark Ages, we have religions being good versus evil, light versus dark. Then we have like the tales of the heroes, right? Again, good versus evil, the overcoming the evil, right? And then the children's fairy tales, it's like, again, overcoming evil. So there's a lot of programming with all of this, the light and all of the light versus the dark. It's like this battle type thing, right? So somewhere in the back of our minds, or in our heart, well, I can't say necessarily in our hearts, but in the back of our minds, it's like this such programming of light versus dark, bad, good, right, wrong. Okay, because like I said, centuries and centuries we've had many people learning and growing up thinking, I need to be a hero, I need to, there's always a good person, there's always a bad person. So, and hello Sheena, thank you for coming. Hello Carrie. And also, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, so I just wanted to get to the point of, for centuries, we've had this light versus darkness. It is so programmed into us to the core. This is what I wanted to reiterate of how programmed we are, and we don't even fully realize it. But it's just been in everything, in our fairy tales, in everything we learn about in history, and all of that. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so of course with the fairy tales, it could be, we always want the good person to win, the light to win, right? Or most kids, as you're growing up. But what if we don't see that? What if we see evil take over, right? What if we see darkness winning? Doesn't that just like hurt us? Doesn't that frustrate us? And it's always like, it's this battle, because the quote unquote darkness wants to take control. The light, or the good person, or quote unquote the light, right, is like, no, it's not going to happen, and it's a battle. Okay, so we know this. So what if evil does take control? Where do we go with this? Number one, if you have a certain situation, I'm going to go into an example, guys. But right now, if you have a certain situation in your life, or multiple situations where you're battling something, and it's almost like, and the feelings towards it is not good. You don't like the situation, you don't like the person, whatever it is. Then what happens with this person or whatever, which just doesn't seem fair, or is the darkness, or is negative? What if they win, quote unquote win? Then we immediately go back to, life isn't fair, right? We get into the slump. We get into the life isn't fair. We feel helpless if the quote unquote dark starts to win. We feel defeated. We feel like we have no control, no say-so. We feel trapped. And eventually we feel numb, because we feel like there's nothing we can do about it. Okay? The situations that you've had where, someone was just evil, let's just say, or someone was doing something wrong or bad, and it's in essence like the darkness, then we feel helpless and we feel like we really can't do anything about it. So this is the same cycle that's been going on for centuries. Light, dark, good, bad, all of that. So what happens whenever that happens? What happens when, the darkness starts to win? Or, what happens when someone evil or someone bad is conquering? Okay, I'm going to bring this into real life situations. I'm kind of doing an overview right now. Well, all of those things come up. We immediately jump out of our hearts because we don't want to feel. We don't want to feel defeated. We don't want to feel like we have no control. It's like we're just this little puppet. We're a puppet, right? And they're pulling on the strings. And we have no control for what's going on. This is like how many of us feel right now. With everything that's going on in society, this is how we feel. We feel like in multiple ways, we're like fighting back. We're like saying, no, I'm tired of this. I want a voice. I want to speak. I don't want it, whatever it is, the government, the cabal, like whatever bigger aspect there it is to it. It's like, no. Why do they always have to win? And then it's like a battle, and we get angry, and we feel upset, and we get rage within us. So if we're looking at all the media, we're looking at the news with everything that's going on right now, what's happening? We get so upset from all this crap that's going on in the world, right? And it just seems so unfair. There's so much things that are unfair in this world, and we feel, again, like little puppets that we're just being played with. So again, this takes us to the life isn't fair and happiness, numbness, helplessness, no say so, no control, being puppets. So what is this? This is the cycle, guys. Something evil, something bad, something dark takes over. Something dark wins. Evil, bad, dark, whatever you want to use as a verbiage, they win, let's just say. Or we're fighting them. And for some reason, we can't get the upper hand. And what does that do? It brings us back to all of those lower vibrational feelings. Like there's nothing we can do about it. What does this do? We jump out of our hearts, and it gives them control. And guys, I'm going to bring this into where we really are. So, okay, this is the overview of how a lot of people think about this. Okay? And I say they, but I'm going to explain that too. So we get to a point where, we're in that cycle. We weren't able to break out. All we do is we try to fight back. We can't get the upper hand. And then boom, we feel so low. We feel so suppressed. We feel like there's nothing we can do. And then we jump out of our bodies because we don't even want to live here anymore. That's how depressing it could be, right? So, with that being said, many light workers come here on Earth and, excuse my language, is kind of like, what the F? How come people aren't being fair? How come they have starving people on the streets when they have billionaires up here? Why is it so unjust? And then we get depressed or suppressed, and then we get sad, and then we feel like we can't do anything about it. It's, again, down. Energy down, right? Because of these lower vibrations. Then we get so racked up, we don't want to feel it anymore because we feel like there's nothing we can do. We jump out of our hearts. We go straight into our heads. What happens? We try to control. Okay? We try to control because we want to change it. So we try to control the outcome. But guys, we're missing a whole step in here. That is the same cycle. And it's going to continue the same cycle if we keep doing the same things as a society, as humanity. So this video, this training is all about how do we change that? How do we break the same cycle that we've been going through for centuries? And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm going to give you that information, but I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But we can do it, right? We can do it. Okay, so here is an example. I'm bringing this down even deeper as an example so you could know what I'm talking about a little bit better. So I was in, kind of still in, depends on what happens, this lawsuit, this family lawsuit that I was dragged into that I didn't want anything to do with until I had to step in. Like, it was just so unfair, okay? So family lawsuit, blah, 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 and it was horrible. Whenever I tell you horrible, first, couldn't get a lawyer because the big people, like the big lawyers that were on the other side, called all the other lawyers and basically said that, don't go into this. So we couldn't even get a lawyer. Then on top of that, they put in false information. They literally falsified a whole document. Like, whenever I tell you so unjust, I was livid. Falsified, we had our signatures on one thing that we signed. They literally took the first page off, put a whole another page on it saying this whole completely different thing than what we agreed to, and gave that to the court. That's how unjust it was. So what happened with this? Like, and it got worse. Every time, every second, we were pushed back in a corner. Every second, you know what I was doing? I was sitting there trying to calculate every move, trying to sit there to manipulate into ways like, I can't say this because this is going to happen. I can't do this because I don't want them to get the upper hand. And all it was complete brain focus, calculation, manipulation, just trying to get one upper hand so that we would stop being slammed in the corner. It was horrible, like absolutely horrible. And I went through this for a year. So what did I do during this time? I tried so hard to stay in my heart. I tried so hard to, listen to my emotions, get that anger out, all of that. And then as I was doing that, I was getting more information. And it clicked. It finally clicked. That's the same cycle. I would try to one-up them. I would try to get all the information, try to put them in a corner and say, no, like, you're not going to do this. They always had one up. Why? Because I was playing their game. This is the cycle, guys. When we play the other person's game, instead of coming from our hearts, we're not breaking the cycle. And no, we may get a couple of ups, right? We may get, some up, like, ahead of them. But will we win? No. Will either side win? No. This was past beliefs, that we had to have the upper hand, that we had to, be in control. We had to fight, right? We had to fight. Am I saying to back down, to go away, to run away, step back, like any of that? No. No. I'm not saying that because it's really important for us to stand our ground. But this is where it's different, guys. This is where it's different, is that we come at it from a different angle. We come at it from our heart. And I'm going to explain this, okay? So, here's where it is. If once you think about this, guys, they have some type of like unfairness, whether it's with society, whether it's with the government, whether it's with like whatever you deem unfair, unjust. Like, how can somebody do that, or a group of people do that to whomever? Whether it's the super poor to the billionaires, millionaires that just aren't, supporting. Right? What do? We get angry. We get upset. We feel helpless. All of this makes us jump out of our body, right? All of this makes us jump out of our body. Sonia says, excellent point about not playing the other guy's game. This is how we get sucked into it, is we try to one-up them because we think subconsciously that whatever they're doing is working. So maybe if we can just one-up them, that maybe, we'll be okay. Maybe we could win, right? But that's the battle. That is the battle. This is the fight. So whenever we realize like we're not winning, and even if we were winning, we're winning in a way, like even if we did get one up, even if we did outsmart them a little bit, what are we doing? We're manipulating in a way, right? We do things that we may feel unjust because they're doing it. So if we don't do it, well then, what's going to happen? we're not going to win. So it's the same cycle. What they're doing is, and I say there, but what's happening is that we try to one-up them, and then we feel like, excuse my language, shit for doing it, because we're not built like that. We don't want to be playing that same game, but yet we're sucked into it every time because we don't feel like there's another way. This is huge. This is huge, okay? So let's think about, you know, the whole, I had a conversation with a client today about the masks. You know, some people wearing the masks, some people not wearing the mask. There's this big controversy on, you know, whether or not wearing the mask, all of that, getting sucked into the media with that. And then we get upset. We get upset because some people are, you know, maybe they don't believe in the coronavirus, so they're not wearing the mask. Maybe they're just so asleep that they just don't even think about it and just walk out, just la-da-da, not wearing a mask, which can affect other people, right? And then they have people who are rebellious on wearing the mask for other people. Then other people get upset because they understand what it's like maybe to be sick. They understand what it's like to maybe have an elderly around that they don't want to get hurt. They understand what it's like to lose somebody. And they don't want that to happen to other people. They don't want that to happen to someone they love. So then what happens? There's another battle. It's a smaller version. It's people who are rebellious because they don't want to be feel like they're in control or being taken control of. So they're rebelling against this. They want to say this isn't true. This is the government, like whatever it is, or this virus was man-made. Like I'm not surrendering to this. So they have that opinion. And then they have the opinion of the people who are like, no, this is important. Like, number one, so the people on this side are either, no, there's a coronavirus, people are dying, wear the mask. And they're so some people are just like, about the people dying and taking care of them. Some of them are really got sucked into the fear aspect of it. If you watch a lot of media, and it's easy to get sucked into that fear aspect of like, I need to do this. Okay, so there's multiple people in this reality. There's multiple people on this reality. So here's the important part, guys. I've said it in a different training, is that when we're, you know, having a difference, okay, or whatever, having a difference, people can be in different realities. So as we, for example, if you're working on yourself, you know, you're continuously working on yourself, growing, and your vibration is raising, someone over here might not understand it. So now you're getting angry at someone else because you believe that they're doing something so wrong, say not wearing the mask, okay, that's an example. So you feel like they're doing something so wrong, but yet you also don't see where they're coming from. You know, maybe it is within them that they're so angry and rebellious with wearing the mask because whatever reason. Because I talked to somebody who doesn't want to wear the mask for stuff because she is angry, she is rebellious. And because she's tired of like all of, you know, the stuff that came up with the theories of the coronavirus, right? I'm not even going to go into that. So now you have two people in completely different like spaces, and what's happening, guys? We're splitting. This is the same thing. We're going into good versus evil, except this person thinks this person's evil. This person probably thinks this person's evil, right? Or these two groups of people. It's the same thing. Good, bad, light, dark, good, evil. And then guess what? We're fighting. Same thing. Same cycle. This is the same cycle that's going on for centuries. It's something there to divide. It's something there to think these people are right, these people are wrong, this is right, this is wrong. Like it's back and forth. So how do we break this? How do we stop feeling, you know, how do we stop playing these games? Because what happens is either people are going to win. No, there's no winning to this. They have separate views. They have separate views, period. So there's no winning. So this is the interesting thing. If one person, you know, wins, quote unquote, and the government makes it mandatory, everybody wears it, if not, you're getting a ticket, so everybody puts it on, then these people are happy. But are they really happy? Could be, it could be that they're happy that, other people won't get sick because that's, what's in their belief and what they see, for example. But because they got drawn into all of the separation, are they truly happy? No. The only thing that would make those people truly happy, heart happy, was if they came to acceptance, understanding, and same as these people. If there was more acceptance, understanding, and less dividing. So this is like a whole, like, what's going on right now in the world. So let's talk about light versus dark. Let's talk about good versus bad, right? We're talking. I teach everything spiritual, so let's talk about that. Let's get more into that. Angels, demons, right? Good, bad type thing. As we're growing, as we're going into 5D, we're in 3D. 3D is the duality, okay? Whether we like it or not, we chose, each and every one of you chose, not consciously, obviously, to come to this earth. And this, in the 3D world, is how we learn, is in that duality aspect. And we agreed to that on some level, to come here and learn from good, learn from evil or dark or bad, okay? So what's happening now that the vibration is raising, now that we're getting all these shifts, all these different energies, people are rising up, light is coming, right? The light idea is coming up, more light, people are awakening, higher vibrations. What happens? The dark rises. Why? Because it's part of the all. This is the stuff that we may know, that light and dark is actually part of the all, and the all and everything is perfect as it is. But we may know that, but we're so ingrained, we're so programmed to immediately, if we think something's wrong, jump out of our hearts and go to our heads, and separation occurs. Just like our hearts and our head separates. I was just doing a training of this in the Lightworkers Acceleration on a technique to connect the heart and the head. Just as this separation occurs, it brings that separation of truth from the heart and of knowledge. And many times, so we jump out the heart, what happens? We have knowledge. We have that idea or understanding, right? That's all we have. But that's not just, it may not be true knowledge. It's just knowledge or programming or whatever it is of the mind. What is the mind? Beliefs, programming. It's the ego, right? Thoughts, beliefs, programming. It's the ego. So immediately when we feel so drawn down, so with the world, something isn't fair, we jump out of our hearts because it's just not fair. We just can't take it. And then we go into our minds, and that's when we get into the separation, because it's so ingrained in us. Okay, so ingrained in us. So what's happening here, so as the light rises, so there's the dark. So as the light is being shown, right, if this is an idea to see, as the light is being shown, things are opening up. We're seeing more truths. We're seeing manipulation. We're seeing different aspects. And then immediately, because of our programming, because of how we were raised, because of everything we've known in the past centuries, we go straight to judgment. What does that do? Right? Energy comes down. Because we're not accepting and we're judging. What does this do? Take us in the same cycle. And we're going to continue to play in the same cycle until we make that difference, until we take new steps. So what I did was I explained light and dark in a way that it's been the same cycle over and over for centuries and centuries. So it's taking a look at the bigger aspect of it and making us think every choice, when we get mad, when we get upset, with something else, we immediately judge. There is no acceptance. Separation, lowered vibration. Are we going to actually heal the earth? Are we going to actually do our part as light workers to raise the vibration with this? No. We're doing the opposite, right? We're doing the exact opposite, which is playing into the same games. And this is the idea. This is what, and I'm going to say they, whoever they is, right? Whether it's the government, cabal, whatever you want to say, this is what they want, right? So how do you stop playing these games? We learn to look into ourselves. We learn to stop judging, right? And the only way we can do that is to really look into ourselves, really release the anger or anything that is, really do a lot of work on ourselves. The more we do work on ourselves, the more we'll begin to love ourselves, right? But first we'll come to acceptance, right? We'll first accept ourselves. Then we can forgive ourselves. And when we finally forgive ourselves, we'll be able to be more compassionate, open towards the other people, other darkness. Why? Because we are looking at the darkness within ourselves. And I did the mirror image training, and seriously, that is everything associated with this. Everything is a mirror image, even if we don't see it just yet, because it's in our subconscious. So just taking that into account, allowing that subconscious to surface, is how we start to really work on it. So, why? Because in some way, shape, or form, there's some lesson or something we need to learn within us. So, let's go back, okay? I'm going to go back to the lawsuit stuff. What did I finally learn? Stop playing their game. Stop, do a lot of work on me. I did so much healing on me. I let go. I did a lot of wounded inner child work. I did a lot of emotional release work with everything that was going on, because I just felt like it wasn't fair. But if you think about it, most light workers don't think this earth is fair, because maybe you're coming from somewhere else that never had this type of learning, right? They didn't learn from duality and the lower vibrations. If you're coming from a higher vibrational place, then you're not learning that way. You're learning in a different way. So many light workers come here and they're upset in that aspect of how people can even be how they are. How, whatever companies or governments or whatever it is can do what they do. So right there, we're just angry. We're angry. So the biggest thing, and the reason I'm even bringing it to the fact that we're light workers and maybe most likely coming from somewhere else too, we probably maybe had lives on this earth, but maybe coming from somewhere else too. What happens with this? First, we can start with our families, see the unfairness in our families, see what angers us, see what relates to what's outside. Do inner child work. And as you continue to work on yourself, remember that it expands. It's not just now. It's generational stuff coming down, right? There's also, as you go out, it goes more galactic. So as we start healing, on a smaller level where we're working on ourselves and maybe other lifetimes on this earth, then we're going to go out even galactic times, okay? Now, this is and it depends. Some people, working on yourself, that's all you need. But you have to really, really work on yourselves and not immediately turn it outward. So what happens? The first thing that we do is if we get upset because we feel like we have no control because of all the programming, because of, everything that we've been through, whether it's in this life or whenever or whatever, we immediately jump out of our bodies. First step, do not jump out of your body, right? How do we do that? Immediately, if we jump out of our body, go straight back to our hearts. Express. Number 1, express. Number 2, release. So what do I mean by express? Get that crap out. Express, say it, talk it. If you have no one to talk to, journal it. If you want to talk to your dog, talk to your dog. Express your anger. Express, so that's the emotional release part of it, but express the unfairness. What isn't fair, right? What isn't, what all of this is going on. Express it. We've been so suppressed, and that is the way that we're suppressed, is that we feel like we can't do certain things in public. We can't do this, we can't do that. We're not supposed to speak up. We're not supposed to, all of that, or get angry. That's how we're suppressing it. So number 1, express. Number 2, feelings. Jump into your body, jump back into your body, do any of the heart techniques that I've taught, including, just breathing into your heart, and that will actually get you there too. Into your heart. So that's another technique, and it's just a simple technique to get you to your heart, and feel and release. So what's coming up a lot with a lot of these shifts that we're going through right now is us, is this stuff surfacing and we're not taking our time to release. And or we're getting angry at what's happening outside, and we're getting so frustrated. What do? Jump out of our bodies and distract ourselves, or whatever it is. Okay? So it's about releasing. It's about looking at yourself. It's about expressing. So we get back into our hearts. Then we can make different decisions. Why? Because our hearts tell the truth. So when we have our truth coming, if we're staying in our truth, then we're not going to keep making the same patterns, right? We'll get the truth of, wait, I'm actually doing what they're doing, and I don't like what they're doing. So why am I doing it? Because when we're in our hearts, we can feel if we're doing what they're doing. We can feel what we like and what we don't like. But immediately when we come out of our hearts, when we come out of our bodies, we don't feel anymore. We don't feel anymore. So how do we break the cycle? Start feeling. And immediately, if you're doing something your heart does not feel good doing, stop. What will this do? And I'll go back to the example of the lawsuit. I stopped playing those games where I would tell my sister something, and then, I would hear something from whomever, I'm not saying names in this, and then I would, in some way, shape, or form, I was manipulating the conversations because I didn't want to say too much, and I didn't want this, right? And I'm acting good, but really being angry at them. This is a big one. We act like we're not angry at someone when we are. It finally got to the point that I would tell this person, why are you asking me to do this? You would not do it for me. Why are you, or I wouldn't say, why are you asking me to do this? I would say simply is, I do not feel that you would do something for me. So I don't feel comfortable doing something for you. If you wouldn't even do it for me, it doesn't feel good to me. And I would start saying things straight. I stopped the manipulation. I stopped trying to control. And I trusted. I stopped playing like I was doing the strings. I stopped trying to be the puppeteers like they were being to us. And that's how my cycles are breaking. This is how I'm getting out of this same pattern and loop that I've had in this lifetime over and over, as I stop playing the game. But I'm standing up for myself. I'm expressing myself. And I'll say things of how I feel. And I don't back down either. But I don't put it on anybody else. That's playing their game too. You do not put it on anybody else. If you start blaming, and I've done this in other videos, if you start blaming, you're doing the same thing. So with the lawsuit stuff, immediately, if I was talking to that person, I got to a point of neutrality. I let go of all the anger towards that person, and I would tell this person, because I really worked on it. It was really deep for me. I really worked on it because I wasn't angry anymore. I would say, my feelings toward you are completely neutral, because they are now. And what does this mean? I'm not being bogged down by manipulation. I'm not playing those games. My heart feels better already. My energy is raising. What does that mean too? I'm breaking the cycle. And breaking the cycle on such a small level, just a personal level, is helping break the cycle in the world. So what are you still doing that's aiding in this this fight, this war. It's no more about fighting. It's no more about war, right? What are you still doing that puts you into that loop? Or what can you do to take a step out? And it takes practice, guys. It took me a while. I did this for a year. It took me a while to get out of that loop, to realize and to put into practice what I was realizing. The manipulation, the not being honest. Well, maybe if I don't say this, maybe this person may help me out. But I was using her, really. But I was doing the exact same thing she was doing to me. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it right. And now I have so much more fulfillment. Now, and you know how, guys, I can see possible future realities. I don't feel this coming up again. This has been broken on me. This cycle has been broken. And it feels amazing. Because I stopped playing the game. I stopped fighting. I stopped getting trapped. I stood up for myself and I trusted. All right, so I went on a because it was definitely a lot. So, and again, guys, this takes time, okay? So first, is learning to love. Well, to love. First, accept yourself. Let go of judgment on yourself. Accept yourself. Then you can forgive yourself and love yourself. Then you can do it for other people. Carrie says, I realize I've been playing games too. We all do it. It's just whether or not we're conscious of it. Exactly. It's not about being better. Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you for that. Ashley said, this is such a beautiful topic and something I learned through my social life. It was just struck by what I saw in my family when I stopped fighting and learned to function constructively. My whole life became more joyful and wholeheartedly. Yeah, 100%. I absolutely love that. Nami said it's a long process. It is. But it's those little steps that get us there. And the good thing is, guys, and I've said it over and over, is as we continue to grow, these long processes are becoming a lot more shorter. As we continue to grow into the 5D, we're breaking these patterns a lot quicker than we ever have in the past. But this is really important because this is a major theme of what's going on right now. And this is how we can help heal the earth. This is exactly how we can help heal the earth. It's to stop the wars. We get angry. Oh, this is a good one. We get angry say some people get angry because people go to war. Say our country sends people off to war and it's just fighting and dying. So some people get angry at that. But yet, we're having our own type of war here. So why is it okay for us, in some way we're having our own war here? Why is it okay for us to have a war, but it's not okay for somebody else to do that? And yes, it's a different type of war, right? But maybe our war is just emotionally or mentally. Maybe we're emotionally or mentally hurting somebody because we feel hurt. We're just doing it back. Or we think we're protecting each other, or we're trying to one up. So why is it okay if we have a war, even though it's different? It's not physically, but it's mentally and emotionally. That's what we need to think. That's what we need to see. And we can change that. This is what's going to help other people. Gretchen said, neutral feelings do help break the cycle and feel good. Thank you, Gretchen. Yeah. Okay, that was I definitely went on a roll. That is the end. I'm going to watch for a second for any more comments. Thank you, everybody who has joined this. And again, the reason why I got to do this one is because it's huge, right? We want to be that warrior. We want to fight because it's so ingrained in us. But fighting is not the thing that's going to break the cycle. Fighting is not going to bring the peace. It's simply doing exactly what they're doing. Now, standing up for yourself in your heart is different. Expressing yourself, but not putting it on anybody, is different. So we still want to stand up for ourselves, right? We still want to be centered in our hearts, stay in our hearts. This is the key. Staying in your heart, the key. Sheena says, I so needed to hear all of this tonight. Thanks for the wise words. You're welcome, Sheena. Thank you for coming. Yeah, thank you, everybody. If you have any more, yes, Lisa, it's going to be in the units tab. It's going to be in the units tab, so. Sonia says, the neutral mind dwells in the heart. Good and evil duality is positive versus negative mind. Thank you for teaching, Lauren. Of course, thank you, Sonia. Love you, Sonia. Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you all so much for coming. I really do enjoy each and every one of you when you come here for the lives, because I get to interact, and I love it. Okay, guys, have an amazing night. Yes, Lisa, this will be in the units, and I could also tag you in it, just so you know where it is, in case you can't find it in the units for some reason. Okay, bye, guys.